that you get chance after chance after chance, and Tyreek Hill, it seems like, is going to get another chance with no active investigation right now. So it appears that that he'll move forward and be ready to rock and roll with the Kansas City Chiefs this year.
Yeah, and I guess there's one part of that where justice is blind. There's a reason that she wears a blindfold. So I guess I get that, but at the same time, I mean, it's just like, come on, how much proof do we need? Let's do some rapid fire here real quickly so we can get into the NBA Finals. NFL news: that Texas just abruptly fire manager Brian Gang. Here it is, June. NFL teams don't fire their GMs in June. What happened?
Well, they're not good. You know, there's a lot of holes, I think, in there. And we see it a lot of times. I think teams are ready to move on from rookie managers and guys with lesser experience quicker than they are the established guys. It seems like guys who have been around for a while. And you know, they're on that manager kind of carousel that they'll get more of a chance. The young guys, it seems like teams don't have a problem moving on from them quickly. You know, a lot of times these young guys that don't really have a name, weren't really a popular hire with a fan base to begin with. So it seems like that it's easy for a team to move on.
So we're talking with Ed Kracz, obviously, about Carson Wentz contract. He thinks they made the right decision. Love him like a brother, I really do. But I kind of disagree with them. But hey, they don't have the rainy day money anymore in Jolly Old St. Nick, and they gave Carson Wentz a big contract. So they believe big time in Carson Wentz. Did the Eagles make a mistake there, or are they crazy like a fox?
Well, I mean, it's hard not to go with the guy who's obviously younger. But, you know, you look at Nick Foles, and he was going to want to get paid and paid big, and the Eagles weren't going to be able to do that with Carson Wentz still there. And, you know, we've heard for a long time from Ed that the Eagles absolutely love Nate Sudfeld, former IU quarterback. So I think in their mind,
yes,
you know, they had what they wanted to move forward. And, you know, it's not about Carson Wentz obviously making mistakes or not playing well. It's just about him staying healthy. And I think, you know, that there needs to be some kind of coach or a quarterback whisperer, a veteran that needs to tell him, hey, look, you know, a first down in the fourth quarter of a game when it doesn't matter doesn't mean a lot. So it seems like right now, like he's got the RG3 disease where he's got to make every first down, every play. You just don't have to do that. You've got to be willing to let plays go when you're an NFL quarterback. And I think that's the biggest issue with him. I mean, if you look talent-wise, you know, yeah, Nick Foles won the Super Bowl for him and had him deeper in the playoffs, but a lot of times it was Carson Wentz who got him there. So I think they made the right decision. And when you got a backup that you have a lot of faith in and a backup that you really like, it's easier to move on from a guy like Nick Foles.
So, hey, I don't know if you got a chance, because I know you're kind of follow our gambling part of thing, and boxing and gambling kind of go hand in hand. Who would have ever thought that Andy Ruiz Jr. Would win the heavyweight title? I mean, he brings back the coolness of dad bods, right? I mean, who would have thought? What are your thoughts about the heavyweight championship of the world? Not who you had expected it to be.
I mean, you know, it's a guy that definitely, I think, brings some interest to boxing. I think his win has intrigued a lot of people to kind of see what's going on in boxing who may have checked out for a while. You know, but I think the cool thing about it was, you know, this was some of the long shots sometimes when you're betting that, you know, it's worth throwing $10 on or $20 on or $100 on, because if it comes through, it's a big score. So sometimes those are the fun ones just to kind of take a shot at. It's my what the hell bets is what I call them. If I've made a little money, you know, betting over the past couple of weeks, sometimes on a long shot like that, I'll just throw it on there, see what happens.
All right, well, let's get into the big news of the week. Obviously, the Toronto Raptors. We're talking with Tyson Lautenschlager at the beginning of the show. Calls us from Toronto. He's our favorite Canadian. First time the NBA's finals have ever been in Canada. We titled our show today, "Oh, Canada, one game away." I tell you what, call me a hater. Haters love to hate. But I would love to see the Golden State Warriors go down and be done. And that be over with. The Toronto Raptors have to beat the Golden State Warriors. That's a personal reflection there. but give us your overall thoughts, opinions, and whatever scratch and sniffs of the NBA Finals this year, sir.
Well, I think, with in Game 3, I think when Steph was the only major star they had out there, I think that he appreciated a little more LeBron's side when Golden State won their first title, because LeBron played without Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving in those finals, and still had the Cavs in it. But it's a time now for Toronto. They've got to put their foot on the throat of the Golden State Warriors in Game 5 on Monday. They have to, because if you don't, bad things can happen, like Kevin Durant getting healthier. So, and Toronto has been lucky to hold on in a few of those games, and then if you add Kevin Durant back in, it's a much different series. So I think the key to this series rests in Game 5. I hate the term must-win game, but for Toronto, it is a must-win, not just because it's at home and you want to close out there. Obviously, every team wants to, but I think you've got to put your foot on the throat of the Golden State Warriors and kill them now, because if you don't, if Toronto doesn't win Game 5, I don't know if they win the series.
Is Kawhi the key guy there? Is he the general of the team?
Oh, of course, yeah, 100%. I mean, maybe not vocally, but his actions and his play for sure is. I mean, he reminds you a lot, and I heard Mark Jackson bring it up on the broadcast last night. He does remind you, his game reminds you a lot of Kobe's, because he hustles on defense, he can shoot the three, he can drive to the basket, he can pass the basketball. So Kawhi is an all-around player. Now, the thing is Kawhi is such a weird dude personality-wise that, I thought that Toronto making it this far and possibly winning a championship could keep him there, but I don't know that that's the case. You know what I mean? He was asked in last night after the game what this would mean to Canada and the Raptors fans if they won, seeing what they did for San Antonio when he was there when they won. He's like, I don't know. You'd have to ask one of the people on the street or one of the Raptors fans. Like, I don't know that it's a big emotional thing for him. I think he's able to win a championship here and not emotionally be attached to a city or to a team like a lot of players would be, and able to move on and be a Clipper or whatever he wants to be next year. So I don't know that them winning the championship, while it would be great for Toronto and it'll be somewhat exciting for the NBA to see Golden State knocked off, I don't know that necessarily winning a championship now keeps Kawhi in Toronto.
Let's talk about Mark Stevens and his stupidity and the NBA and their stupidity. First of all, two things shouldn't have happened. I don't think that he should be banned from the NBA. He should just be banned from courtside. Second of all, what? Why? Have you lost your mind? You're a minority owner of a team, and you want to push a Raptors player on the court. I mean, two stupidity things. I don't think that he did anything to get him banned, but he certainly should be banned from courtside and to be up in a sweet drinking beer where he should be at. I'm still scratching my head. I'm like, WTF here.
Well, he's banned for a year, which I think is right, because if you remember, Mark Cuban was banned for a portion of the season just for yelling at the refs from his courtside seat. The NBA is very strict on, the way that their players act and conduct themselves, as well as any team officials, including owners. So the fact that this was, the showcase for the NBA Finals on national television, on ABC, and this happened, I'm surprised Adam Silver honestly didn't come down harder. There was thoughts there for a minute that the NBA could do like they did with Donald Sterling and force him to sell his minority ownership in the team. If you're an owner of a team, like if this would have been the first championship that Golden State had played for and his emotions were running high, okay, I get it. But what he did was stupid. It was Bush League. And, when you're an owner, you've got to carry yourself like an owner of an NBA team. But, I think he's a cocky, brash hedge fund guy out there in the Bay Area who was trying to show off to his girl, and he looked like a complete dick. So I think Adam Silver was right for doing everything that he did. I agree with him 100%. As far as his actions, just absolutely stupid. Absolutely stupid. But you can't act like that and be an owner and expect to not have punishment come down from the NBA. I mean, if you look at it, Doc Rivers got fined $500,000 just for responding to a question about Kawhi Leonard. So being banned a year, he should consider himself lucky that he wasn't forced to sell his minority ownership in the team.
Kyle Lowry, though, I mean, we want to say maybe he's just he should be just above it. I mean, apparently there was some exchange of words, and apparently Stevens was yelling some rude, crude things to him, but Kyle Lowry also decided, hey, you want a piece of this? He should have been better than that. I mean, come on. First of all, we see NBA players very, very few times do they actually get into a fight. They might bump into each other, get in each other's faces, and talk trash. But Kyle Lowry could have just said, "Man, I'm here in the NBA Finals. I want nothing to do with this," and just totally ignored it. Because let's be real. How many times does the NBA players across the NBA, not just this game, but across the NBA, when they're at a visiting team, hear courtside people or even people close to the court yell obscenities to them? Kyle Lowry could have been the better man and just say, "I'm done. I'm not gonna pursue that." So I look at both parties are being guilty here.
Well, I disagree in that just for the fact that I don't know that it was necessarily the words that were said, but when everybody remembers the whole Ron Artest ordeal with the fans in Detroit. When a fan puts his hands on you, when you're an NBA player, that should never happen. Not one time, never. I think the security at Oracle Arena is to blame for that, and obviously a guy who's a minority owner of the team should know better. So when you're an NBA player, you don't expect to ever have your hands put on by the crowd. Yes, they get taunted and things said to them that are nasty all the time. But when a fan puts his hands on a player, I think I think Kyle Lowry showed great reserve and not retaliating against him, because you think you're on the biggest stage of them all, first time there for a lot of these guys on that Raptors team, and they're playing in enemy territory, trying to go up 2-1. It's towards the end of the game, and then you've got this pompous jerk who decides to push you as you're trying to make a hustle play in the NBA freaking finals in the fourth quarter. There's no call for it, and some of the guys would have taken a swing. I really believe they do, and for a fan to retaliate like that and put his hands on you, absolutely uncalled for. So to me, I think he showed great restraint and not further letting his emotions get the better of him and not hurting his team by being suspended for retaliating.
Yeah, valid point. NBA's a little bit different as far as the fans' access to the game of play. Football, obviously, nowhere close. Maybe close with the MLB when you see players reach over and maybe interfere with the catching of a foul ball, but not like the NBA. So a couple of things that people might be talking about is, are we going to start moving back these seats a little bit? Are we going to start putting security between the fans and the court? I don't know.
Well, I like the idea of moving the fans back a little bit, but remember, like in every sport, Tom, that at the end of the day, it's all about the almighty dollar. And those seats, especially in playoffs and finals time, they cost a fortune. And so the people who buy those seats, they aren't going to be worth as much as if you move them back. So there's going to be something that has to be done. I don't know if it is more security, but the people who pay for those seats are never, ever. And that's the biggest thing. Like, that dude doesn't pay for those seats, you know what I mean? Like, it's not even like he's a paying customer. So I think that you could see where the NBA no longer allows owners to sit on courtside. That could be a move that they make. But I think you will see a heightened security. And it maybe not be arena security, but, the NFL has its own security force that is at every game and does all that stuff. So I think you might see to where the NBA starts, having their own security team that works these games.
So let's just talk a little bit about talking about the fans in baseball. A little bit of a different story, and it's a sad story. We saw what happened with the Boston Red Sox and the little girl. I'm sorry, I apologize. I said Boston Red Sox. I meant the Chicago Cubs and Boston Red Sox game, but it was the Cubs player who hit the foul ball and hit the little girl in the face. Obviously, he was distraught. And we saw it happen again here in Indianapolis with the Indianapolis Indians and in the AAA team. are